Hey everybody, it's Dan. Sorry I'm late with content. I took some time off. Finished the book that I was working on. I'm pretty proud of it. Check that out. Check that. The book is amazing. Give it a read. It's currently free on Kindle Unlimited. I will try and put a link in comments if I can figure that out. So, why would I review a game that's been out for 10 years? Well, it's not like I have anything else going on. My mods on RimWorld haven't updated yet. Quarantine is in full swing. My writing career is just about over as it starts. Expect to be laid off any day now, so yeah, not a lot going on. But the fact remains that Fallen Enchantress Legendary Heroes is the second best game ever made. This game is fantastic. It has everything. By no means is it the unrivaled focused masterpiece that is Ground Control 2 Operation Exodus, but it's a great game. A little unfocused in parts, but that's where you get the charm. Top level, it's a strategy game with RPG and questing elements in a weird fantasy world with fucked up monsters. Tons of replay and customization. Looking back, I never really understood all the hate that this game got when it came out. I think it has something to do with the first game in the series being botched. I don't really know. I never played it. I never played the sequel either. Sure, the tactical maps are a little repetitive, and it's hard to do anything interesting there, but that's hardly what the game is about. The game is amazing. Pure fucking magic. Fallen Enchantress is fun. It's fun to look at. It's fun to be part of this world full of bright colors and adventure. It's fun to explore the world and interact. Even without talking about the plot, it's got it all. Gear, economy, alliances, betrayal, and a shit ton of lag. Enchantress is a really nice fantasy sandbox. As a writer, I like to have some kind of machina to play around in, which is why I love RimWorld so much. But RimWorld isn't always enough. And without a doubt, the first part of the game is the best. Designing your character and your faction just gives you a lot of control for role-playing and creating a unique world. Seriously, the character generation element is so much fun. You can even invest the same loving care into your opposing forces and make a really unique world. First, start with faction design. The choices here are really important, because they last the entire game. It's worthwhile to note that some choices are clearly wrong. I mean, do what you want, have fun. So decide if you want to be an empire or a kingdom. Empires are bad, kingdoms are good. Okay, that's enough. Race. Each race gets their own perk, so go nuts. But training henchmen is really my favorite, at least for me. Traits. This is the meat of the game. Remember, your priority here is global buffs and early game perks that let you ride that sweet, sweet power curve. As far as character design is concerned, Profession is just a fancy kind of trait you can only get one of. Warlord reduces upkeep costs for every unit. Summoner lets you summon a warg. This game is perfectly balanced. Class. Obviously, mages are the best way to go due to their stacking buffs and the way they swing their big dicks around the campaign map, but that's not always the most fun. The questing and RPG elements of the early game are just so fun. The world is so lovely looking, and the wasteland outside of your area of control is populated with monsters. There's a real sense of fear and excitement as you roll back the fog of war and start to adventure. The early battles are tough. There's a real sense of consequence. The primary mechanism for you to grow your economy and level up your sovereign is by killing world monsters and questing. So it's a world of danger. It's pretty spooky to try and start your own nation. Gold is hard to come by, and the scarcity of resources puts a lot of weight behind all of your early decisions. The first part of the game is all about maintaining the power curve. You cannot grow fast enough, catching up later in the game is very hard. After a while, as you explore the world and level up your towns, you start thinking about carving out a nice, tranquil land of peace, where you can mind your own business and develop prosperity. And this period of the game is just so charming. I would be thrilled if this was the entire game. In the early game, quests and mobs are critical to support your troops, which lets you earn gold, loot, equipment, gain fame, and become stronger. Quest, level up, earn gear, earn fame. This is a positive feedback loop. This game is amazing. The order of production in your first city is all by choice. You can either build new facilities or you can build new troops. Building new troops is valuable, but it slows down the growth of the power curve. At the beginning, it's just you and 7 dudes. This provides a wonderful sense of intimacy. These aren't massive battles with thousands of men. The death of any one of your squad mates is meaningful, and the cost of human life is very high. If you lose a squad and have to replace it, your building queue is delayed, which slows down the growth of your power curve. Nothing is disposable. As your troops level up, you can't help but get sentimental. Once you get a little momentum with your questing and earn enough fame, you get to recruit your first hero. Fame is the mechanism that allows you to recruit champions. Champions are like independent characters who will inevitably become the generals of your armies. And champions are just so cool. They each have their own cute little design. You get to level them up like in any worthwhile RPG, and you get to equip them. This game is amazing. They can manage cities, go on quests independently, and lead armies. But they work in tandem with your sovereign until you start recruiting additional troops. Unit design will start to figure in as you expand your military. Standard units are not consistently useful. They don't balance the synergies of your kingdom. So here's a couple pointers. Keep expenses low, avoid magical equipment, keep durability high. Focus on your traits. And I just love it. I want to stay in this place forever. Things are happening quickly, your second city is progressing nicely, and your power curve is still growing. Though as you make diplomatic connections with more and more nations, you observe yourself losing standing to foreign powers. One of the things that makes this game so fantastic is how well it scales. Yes, you start out with one paltry city and 10 men, and your nation begins to grow, from one army into 2, from one city into 3. And increasingly, politics becomes an important part of your turn. You want good relations with all nations. You make trade deals. While you make diplomatic contact with other nations, you begin to fixate on this bit of UI that constantly reminds you of your relative power ranking against the other nations. Secure peace treaties. Be a shining beacon of justice, an example for the world to see. You try desperately to maintain peace, because for as much as you value justice and honor, you are aware of the precarious alliances that keep war at bay. If any of your trade alliances fail, your empire will be bankrupt. You know it's just a matter of time before war shatters the realm. You buy time with pacifying strategies rife with indignity. You cave to some external pressures. You learn to swallow your pride. Sure, you cave to some bad deals, but peace is worth a few humiliations. But try as you might, the villains of the world don't always see the greater good. War is always looming, and you can only avoid it for so long. And when your first war begins, you're woefully unprepared. Yes, they are across the map, but you just cannot compete. You can barely pay your own bills, let alone grow an army. What makes this game so fantastic is that unlike some games, this game rewards you for winning. You use your power to create more power. You're stressed about declining book sales. Your dead-end job is collapsing. You don't sleep at night, so you're the only one in the house awake when you hear glass shatter. You grab your baseball bat and race outside to catch your drunk neighbor vandalizing your lawn gnome, so you beat the fucking shit out of him. And while he's writhing in agony, your body flushed with adrenaline, you smoke one of his cigarettes with a shaky hand. You feel good about yourself for the first time in years. The next morning, the mayor gives you $200. This game is fantastic. It dawns on you that your allies are weaker than you are, and it's only a matter of time before the corpse of their kingdom feeds your enemy. So let it feed you instead. But before you declare war, bleed them, milk their empire, trade useless research credits for cold hard cash. Once you were their protector, now you are their master. Is it justice? Perhaps the divine gave strength to your righteous blade. Perhaps not. Still, practical necessity wins this argument. All that matters is that they are weaker than you are, and they cannot repel your attacks. You add their might to your own. And slowly, the cost of life gets lower and lower. But even this isn't enough. The Great War is still undecided, and this isn't a game about maintaining peace or adventuring or heroism. War, all the time, is all that waits for you. And so the first couple of battles are desperate mad scrabbles. You get a few good licks in, give as good as you get, but you're winning the maneuver war, and before long you've got one of their cities threatened when you realize how maddeningly challenging it is to conquer a city. Rage quit, save scum, reload. Next step, start to cheese. Technology is changing more rapidly now. Design custom stopgap units with limited durability. Leverage traits and equipment that increase initiative, attack first, and receive an attack bonus for their additional initiatives. Presently, a sound can be heard in the distance. Toot toot. What is that? A foghorn? Generate more cash in lopsided trade deals. Blow thousands of gold maxing out the equipment of all of your heroes. Specialize your commanders. Demand the unquestioning subordination of every single faction that is weaker than you. If they resist, destroy them. Grind their cities to ash. Execute their historians. Burn their libraries. Allow no dissent. There is only one truth now. The line between the state and your personhood begins to dissolve. Cheese even harder. Force all nations to pay for non-aggression pacts to finance your expanding army. Recognize that your civilization cannot survive peace. Stagger the expiration date of those treaties to ensure that you are never without an enemy. Break them. Toot toot, it's clear now, more urgent, with mechanic rapidity to it. Drain all resources from the entire realm to upgrade your military. Toot toot, all aboard, motherfucker. Ensure that all troops are mounted to increase your ability to project power. Toot toot, dragons! Start wars for the express purpose of purging your obsolete troops from your payroll. This game is amazing! Shore up supply lines, organize your society to support a policy of total war, subordinate the will of your citizens. Create a culture where sacrifice to the state is the highest achievement and victory is the only currency. The solution to all problems is reduced to brute force or death magic. Create a cult of personality, become the despotic last hope of humanity under siege. Any dissent to the one truth is deemed heretical. Massacre defeated villagers so they do not rise again at a later time. Rage quit, save scum, reload. Start cheating, clone your armies. Teleport armies across the map, generate unlimited gold. Have children to continue your repulsive dynasty. Cheat so hard you break the game. Watch your might grow as your indifference towards human life increases. Cease fearing death and recognize that you are closer to a god now than a man. This is all for the greater good of humankind. You alone shoulder the burden of Messiah. Rule an empire that straddles the world. All resistance must inevitably fall beneath your boots. Watch, in confusion, as political dogma takes on new life while your empire stagnates despite its unfathomable might. Punish non-believers. Hold a public execution for a defeated general. Recognize that this is all in accordance to God's will, and you are that God. Good game, 9 out of 10. A little buggy at late game, but a lot of fun.